card is from the Osho Zen Tarot. It's a picture of an older lady, like kind of hoarding some jewels, and she has like a feathered hat, and it says the miser, number 4. The moment you become miserly, you are close to the basic phenomenon of life, expansion, sharing. The moment you start clinging to things, you have missed the target. You have missed. Because things are not the target. You, your innermost being, is the target. Not a beautiful house, but a beautiful you. Not much money, but a rich you. Not many things, but an open being, available to millions of things. The woman has created a fortress around herself, and she is clinging to all the possessions she thinks are her treasures. In fact, she has accumulated so much stuff with which to adorn herself, including the feathers and furs of living creatures, that she has made herself ugly in the effort. This card challenges us to look at what we are clinging to and what we feel we possess that is so valuable it needs to be protected by a fortress. It needn't be a big bank balance or a box full of jewels. It could be something as simple as sharing our time with a friend or taking the risk of expressing our love to another. Like a well that is sealed up and becomes stagnant from disuse, our treasures become tarnished and worthless if we refuse to share them. Whatever you're holding on to, remember that you can't take it with you. Loosen your grip and feel the freedom and expansiveness sharing can bring. Shazay, what is this? What does this card mean?
For me, it's just looking at true wealth being internal versus external. It makes me think about the time when I was traveling. I was on a small island in the South Pacific, and by Western standards, you go into the village monetarily, you would think that these people were poor. But this was like, to me, they were some of the wealthiest people I'd ever experienced in terms of like that, what this card to me is speaking to, like that inner value, the value of self, the value of sharing, the value of spending time together, the value of growing your own food, building your own homes, having resources, natural resources, nothing to do with holding on. The giving of like sharing your bed, the giving of sharing your food. It literally changed my life in a lot of ways, just in terms of like what true wealth means. So that card just kind of took me on a journey in terms of that lesson I learned a long time ago around the meaning of true wealth. That's what came up.
So this card gets me to think about it gets me to think about the martial arts and just arts in general. I feel that a lot of arts are underappreciated, but when you do find appreciation from people that truly value the art, it's one of the most beautiful things to share. And martial art in particular, it's been like my lifelong work, practicing and developing the art, sharing the art. And the most beautiful thing about the art is the sharing. I could have thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if all I have is money and I don't have any I can't share my art with people that appreciate it, then deep down I feel something's missing. Like, the art is designed to share, but the problem is this culture, they don't know how to appreciate things that might be free or things of high value that doesn't cost much money. Like the beautiful weather, to go out there and to enjoy it, a lot of times it's free. But deep down, really, who appreciates that? You know, going on a nice walk, going on a bike ride, going close to the trees, appreciating nature, observing the birds, the mountains, going to the forest preserve, going on a nice swim, having a good conversation with a good friend, spending time with family, just sharing like valuable time together, drinking tea together, practicing martial arts together, exercising together, meditating together, just spending valuable time together. I think this culture, they tend to not know how to appreciate that. What they appreciate, a lot of times, nice things, the newest phone, the newest car, the biggest home, fancy jewelry, people that have a lot of money. So what happens is an artist is caught in between. They want to share, but if they share for free, or if they share without charging enough money, then it's like people's psychology is designed to not value things that doesn't cost money, that are free. So the artist is in a very tough position. How does the artist teach people to value things that might be free or simple things? And that's where meditation comes in, is teaching you the beauty of life in simplicity. Just sitting still and just breathing. Closing your eyes in stillness and just breathing. Clearing the mind, being at peace. And one of the most valuable things in life is peace of mind. There is no money that could ever give you peace of mind. It comes from within. So, if we have the ability to be financially stable and comfortable, what we need to learn is meditation to bring peace within. We talked the other week about how difficult it is to find happiness if you're struggling financially. It's not easy. So yes, we got to continue to put effort to be financially stable. But once we are financially stable, then you need to put the energy into meditation to provide that balance. So in this card, it's showing somebody that's not just financially stable, it's excess. And that's what we went through the other card. When you have excess, then it's time to share. Because then that creates the balance. That creates the flow. So in the martial art, depending on the person and where they're at, your approach might have to change in how to teach appreciation. It's all about appreciation, not just for art, but for life. Card is doing. It's number 58. And there's like a tent set up and people are outside. There's a camel in the back. It's nighttime. It looks like they're in the desert. There's like two people sleeping. It's from the Osho Transformation Tarot. Number 58, doing. Trust in Allah, but tether your camel first. Each day it happens, you could have done something, but you didn't do it. And you are using the excuse that if God wants it done, He will do it anyhow. Or you do something and then you wait for the result you expect, and the result never comes. Then you are angry, as if you have been cheated, as if God has betrayed you, as if He is against you, partial, prejudiced, unjust. And there arises great complaint in your mind. Then trust is missing. The religious person is one who goes on doing whatsoever is humanly possible, but creates no tension because of it. Because we are very, very tiny, small atoms in this universe, things are very complicated. Nothing depends only on my action. There are thousands of crisscrossing energies. The total of the energies will decide the outcome. How can I decide the outcome? But if I don't do anything, then things may never be the same. I have to do, and yet I have to learn not to expect. Then doing is a kind of prayer, with no desire that the result should be such. Then there is no frustration. Trust will help you to remain unfrustrated, and tethering the camel will help you to remain alive, intensely alive. This Sufi saying wants to create the third type of man, the real man, who knows how to do and who knows how not to do, who can be a doer when needed, can say yes, and who can be passive when needed and can say no, who is utterly wakeful in the day and utterly asleep in the night, who knows how to inhale and how to exhale, who knows the balance of life. Trust in Allah, but tether your camel first. This saying comes from a small story. A master was traveling with one of his disciples. The disciple was in charge of taking care of the camel. They came into the night tired in a caravanserai. It was the disciple's duty to tether the camel. He didn't bother about it. He left the camel outside. Instead of that, he simply prayed. He said to God, "Take care of the camel," and fell asleep. In the morning, the camel was gone, stolen, or moved away, or whatsoever happened. The master asked, "What happened to the camel? Where is the camel?" The disciple said, "I don't know. You ask God, because I had told Allah to take care of the camel, and I was too tired, so I don't know. And I'm not responsible either, because I had told him, and very clearly. There was no missing the point. Not only once, in fact, I told him that thrice. And you go on teaching, trust Allah. So I trusted. Now don't look at me with anger." The master said, "Trust in Allah, but tether your camel first, because Allah has no other hands than yours. If He wants to tether the camel, He will have to use somebody's hands. He has no other hands, and it is your camel. The best way and the easiest and the shortest way is to use your hands. Trust Allah. Don't trust only your hands. Otherwise, you will become tense. Tether the camel and then trust Allah." You will ask, then why trust Allah if you are tethering the camel? Because a tethered camel can also be stolen. You do whatsoever you can do. That does not make the result certain. There is no guarantee. So you do whatsoever you can, and then whatsoever happens, accept it. This is the meaning of tether the camel. Do whatever is possible for you to do. Don't shirk your responsibility. And then if nothing happens, if something goes wrong, trust Allah. Then He knows best. Then maybe it is right for us to travel without the camel. It is very easy to trust Allah and be lazy. It is very easy not to trust Allah and be a doer. The third type of man is difficult. To trust Allah and yet remain a doer. But now you are only instrumental. God is the real doer. You are just instruments in His hands. Simo, what does this mean?
I liked the part of the card that said, it's not verbatim, but where it spoke about wisdom kept coming up. The wisdom to know when to do and when to take action, when to say yes. And then the wisdom to know when to say no and to not take action and not to do. The card is speaking on wisdom. Wisdom of self and wisdom of circumstances. So we are all born with gifts and abilities and with things that may come natural to us. And these things are different and they look different in different people. Some recognize them as gifts and talents and some don't, because they like to compare themselves to others. But we all have something in us that is either gifted or something we're skilled at without training. There's something there. And these are resources that I believe are given us by our Creator. So what the card is saying to me is that do what you can do. Do what you know to do. Or do what you are skilled or gifted in doing. Because that is God working through you. That is the Creator having instilled something in you. And you can carry out this thing when it comes to whatever circumstances you're in. Like tying a candle or tying up a camel, you know, and then having the wisdom to recognize the elements in life that you cannot control. There are some things that we cannot control. We cannot control the actions of others. So if somebody wants to come in and steal your camel, you can't go in and, you know, jump in their bodies and say, hey, you need to do the right thing and not steal. Everyone has free will. So having the wisdom to know what you can do, what you can control, the skill set, the talents, the things you are able to do, and the wisdom to know the things that you do not have control over, the things that you may not know how to do. You know, it's a question that I always ask either clients or when people ask my advice, I ask them, well, what do you have control over? What can you do in this situation? Identify those things and do it. And then recognize the elements that you cannot control, the things that you have no control over. Why worry and get stressed over the things that you can't control anyways? Leave those things to be dealt with by either someone else who does have control over it, or leave them to God, leave them to the Creator. And having the wisdom to recognize those two things, the things you can control, the things that you cannot, and then acting accordingly is what I feel really is what that card is saying. You know, the gift of God, you know, in the card is what He has instilled in us, the abilities He has given us so that we can act and respond and do and interact and engage, making decisions, and also the opportunity for us to grow in wisdom and to recognize the things that we have no control over. And that's where we have faith. We have faith that God will either send someone who can do those things that we can't, or that God will take care of it. It's already taken care of. So pretty much in a nutshell, that's what I get from that.
Thank you. I just want to make a closing thought on this card. I think that these cards are trying to speak to me with the doing. Lately, if some of you noticed, the instructors, how I've been pushing for this school to grow. We're 2 years into the pandemic, and it's difficult. You know, it's difficult to survive teaching an art that when many times arts in general are underappreciated or exploited. And I'm doing more effort doing what I can to make this school not just survive, but thrive. And this card to me is saying, just do whatever you can. Just keep doing what you can. But trust in God that things will be okay. So it is my desire to have this school grow, continue to grow, and not die off. That is my desire. I'll continue to put the effort to do as much as I can while I live, and I'll trust God that things will be okay. I want to thank everybody for coming out to the meditation today. Thank you for the people coming early to help set up. We'll continue same time next week. Thank you.